My friend Andrew was shot at that concert. As I learned some details from friends and family, I found out it was a little worse than we hoped, and it was a pretty awful feeling.
Tonight, in a story you'll only see here on Valley News Live, we're getting an update on the Minot man who was one of the hundreds injured in the Las Vegas attack. One of Andrew Gudmundson's closest friends, who lives in Fargo, visited exclusively with us. He's at the hospital with Gudmundson's family and friends. When Jamison Benson, Gudmundson's former teammate on the UND baseball team, heard of the horrific news that Andrew was shot, his first instinct was to take the first flight to see him. Benson tells Valley News Live his current condition after surgery today.
Seeing him initially was pretty tough. It's tough for everyone that's here. He was shot twice. Once through his midsection, and that one passed all the way through. And then another time in his arm. He's got a breathing tube, and he's still extremely sedated. When he does open his eyes, you can tell that he recognizes people, and when he sees certain people, his heart rate will go up.
And more teammates are scheduled to visit Gudmundson in the next few days to weeks. Also, meanwhile, Benson says he never wants to see any of his friends in Gudmundson's current state.
It's just not a way that you ever want to see any of your friends, I guess. It's tough. Anyone who knows him, he's definitely a fighter.
As you just heard, he was holding back tears, but Benson tells me that there are still more surgeries scheduled for Gudmundson. And of course, we're going to continue to follow his recovery. As always, for any updates, stick with us online at valleynewslive.com. If you would like to help support Andrew's medical costs, we've got a YouCaring site set up, and we've got a link provided to this story. And after 3 days, after 58 people were killed in the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history, the motive behind the attack remains a mystery. Police revealed tonight that there was evidence found in the gunman's room that points to him intending to survive or escape. CBS News correspondent Kenneth Craig is in Las Vegas with the latest.
New photos from inside the hotel suite where Stephen Paddock staged the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history show him dead on the floor, surrounded by spent ammunition. Other photos and video captured various rifles scattered throughout the room. Police found 23 guns and rifles along with 12 bump stocks, devices added to semi-automatic guns that allow rapid firing like fully automatic weapons. Las Vegas officials say from his 32nd floor perch at the Mandalay Bay Casino Resort, Paddock unloaded his weapons on a country music festival below. Police say he set up cameras, including one on a food service cart outside his room.
There was another camera placed inside the hotel room door peephole so that he could see down the hallway.
Paddock once worked for the Postal Service and as an IRS agent. In recent years, he spent his time gambling. Leading up to the shooting, Paddock transferred $100,000 to the Philippines, where his girlfriend, Mary Lou Danley, is believed to be now. Police say she is a person of interest and that the FBI is bringing her back to the U.S. on Wednesday. Officials are analyzing Paddock's computer and cell phone and also reviewing surveillance video. Here at the crime scene, they're picking through what concert goers left behind. At a memorial along the Las Vegas Strip, people left flowers and embraced.
I'm so fortunate that I made it out. Because it was surreal.
President Trump will visit Las Vegas Wednesday. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, Las Vegas.
The ATF does not get notified about purchases of multiple guns unless they're bought at the same time. Police have revised their inquiry count to under 500. 150 people remain hospitalized. And we're also following breaking news overseas tonight. Nigerian and U.S. officials say 5 soldiers from Niger and 3 U.S. Army Special Forces troops were killed and 2 wounded in an ambush on a joint patrol in southwest Niger. Reuters is reporting that the 5 Green Berets were attacked on a routine patrol in an area known to have a presence of insurgents, including from Al-Qaeda. The U.S. Africa Command has hundreds of soldiers deployed across the region. President Donald Trump was briefed on the attack while Trump flew back on Air Force One from Las Vegas. Coming up after weather, a handyman ripping people off in the valley is at it again. We'll bring you the latest on Tony Klein. Plus, we're getting an exclusive look at special training local law enforcement are taking part in. We'll bring you more on that in just a few moments. But first, Hutch, it was a cooler day for us. Still quiet, though. Our temperature is going to get even lower.
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, real low for some folks as we take a look at a beautiful sunset this fall evening. A lot of colors in the trees and colors in the sky as we enjoyed a fairly quiet late day here in the FM area. Right now, 47 with a southwest wind at 5 miles per hour. The air very dry, so it cools quickly. Dew points are in the 30s. And we already have 30s in our northwestern counties. Langdon is at 37 degrees, 46 Valley City, 50 in Grand Forks, and a lot of 40s across western Minnesota, including 48 in Thief River Falls. A closer look in northeast North Dakota shows a few of you with some 30s right up here where we have the clear skies and the calm winds. 37 can do as well, with 45 in Hallock this hour. So the cooling trend is going to continue. We do have a frost advisory for all of our northern tier counties, basically along and north of Highway 2 as we go through the overnight. Here's what saves the FM area as we go through. These clouds are going to build in, maybe even a few sprinkles in our far southern counties. Clouds act as a blanket. They radiate heat down to the ground and will be milder to start out our Thursday morning. 40 to 50 degrees in the south, while there will be low to mid 30s for some in the northern plains and the northern valley here, and it looks like some frost is a likelihood. So cover up your plants and your tomatoes if you still have some left on the vine. For the early half of our day, sunshine north of Interstate 94, more clouds along and south of Interstate 94 with spotty sprinkles in our far southern and eastern counties, Grant and Wilkin particularly. Afternoon temperatures much like today, 50s north and a near 60-degree day for many in the south. Fargo's numbers for your day tomorrow, 41 to start it out. And we'll kind of level off in those low 60s for the better part of our afternoon and early evening hours. And sunsets before 7 p.m. Better mow the lawn real early. 55 in the afternoon in Langdon, a degree better in Roseau. Wadena 56, 64 tomorrow afternoon in Breckenridge, Wahpeton. Well, the harvest, folks are trying out there. Waterlogged conditions in central Minnesota are making that very difficult. But this Hillsboro harvest shot showing those sugar beets and a gorgeous sunset that can't be beat. Now, the planning forecast looks like this, Christine. Friday, we're still cool. Rain chances mainly south. Saturday looks warm, but it's going to be windy and gusty. Sunday, we cool back down into the low 60s. Look at next week with me, though. 30s and 40s for the most part. And that means a better chance of some morning frost here in the Southern Valley. And can't rule out a flake very late Monday night. We'll keep you updated on that.
Hutch, I'm not sure if it's all the cold weather talk or they turned on the AC, but I am just chilled
Mittens are back over here. I'll get them for you.
Okay, thanks, Hutch.
Yes.
All right, we're also following up on a story we've been covering for you for the past few months. A man representing himself as a contractor in the Fargo area is now out of jail after being arrested for charges related to a contracting scheme. His name is Tony Klein, and several people have contacted our whistleblower hotline claiming they've lost money to him. Valley News Team's Molly Casey has spoken with those that have contacted us. Molly, Klein is now out of jail, right?
That is correct. Over the last 3 months, I've spoken with 5 homeowners who all say they've contacted Tony Klein after finding ads for his handyman services in the paper. But his criminal record isn't just held to North Dakota. Tony Klein has been arrested in at least 4 states, including Minnesota, Oklahoma, and Florida, for offenses like theft, harassment, and DUI. Most recently, several people in the Valley tell us Klein has been representing himself as a licensed contractor, placing ads in the local paper claiming to have upwards of 30 years of experience and won't charge until the project is done. Those we've spoken to say Klein demands money up front for labor and materials, only to make excuses as to why he can't return to finish the job or return the homeowner's money. One homeowner says he had a run-in with Klein just this last month, just days after he was arrested. Klein is facing charges of theft of property over $1,000 and contracting without a license. Despite those charges and reports from homeowners, we asked the assistant state's attorney how he was able to get out of jail.
The bail in this case was set at $5,000, 10%, which means that he was required to post $500. The rest is personal recognizance.
Klein's most recent ad could still be found this week and is listed under A to Z Handyman Services. We tried to reach him at the number listed in the ad, but the number has now been disconnected. Officials say if you feel that you may have fallen victim to a contractor who took your money and didn't do the work, you're urged to call police. If you have already filed a police report, you can follow up on the status of the investigation or ask if it has been forwarded to the state's attorney general.
All right, thank you so much, Molly. And if you ever need help uncovering fraud and corruption in your community, call us on our whistleblower hotline. That number is 701-237-6576 and leave your tip. A member of our investigative team will get on the case and go to work to expose the truth. The governors of Minnesota and North Dakota are forming a 16-member task force to try and revive a stalled flood control project in the Fargo-Moorhead area. Minnesota Governor Mark Dayton and North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum said they will each appoint 8 members to help resolve differences over construction of the Red River Diversion Project. A group of upstream residents in the 2 states have filed a lawsuit opposing the diversion, saying there is a cheaper option that doesn't flood farmland. A federal judge last month stopped construction of the channel over complaints that project managers did not obtain the necessary permits from Minnesota. And tonight in a Valley News Live exclusive, area law enforcement are going through special training this week. They're anticipating multiple upcoming rallies that could create some tense situations. There's a possible white supremacist rally planned in Fargo sometime in October. And there could be a crowd protesting Minnesota pipeline pretty soon as well. Saying the practical training is especially important, given many officers have been scrutinized nationwide following recent protests.
That's always in the back of our minds, or sometimes catalysts out on the forefront there. And we talk about that in great detail. There can certainly be an under-response, and then there's times where there's an over-response. And that's what we're challenged with, is finding the appropriate response.
The participating law enforcement officers will be at the Fargo Dome training over the next few days. A motorcyclist is dealing with injuries after a crash in Grand Forks. It happened around 3:30 this afternoon, just east of the Grand Forks Red River High School. Authorities say 30-year-old Evan Seeley was riding his motorcycle when a vehicle driven by a 15-year-old boy turned in front of him. And that's when Seeley rammed into the side of the vehicle and was taken to Altru Hospital to be treated for injuries. The driver of the car was cited for failure to yield. In a recent study from a federal agency, 93,000 people have been injured in ATV accidents in the U.S. Over a quarter of those injured were children. So when is the appropriate time to start driving an ATV? In North Dakota, young adults can start driving ATVs on their parents' property at 12 years old. Although this is the legal age, law enforcement officials often see parents allowing their children to drive at a much younger age. But they say the same rules apply even in rural settings. In Minnesota, children are allowed to start driving an ATV at 10 years old with adult supervision. Sergeant Brigham urges parents to train their children before allowing them to drive one of the vehicles. A woman who was blessed by a dentist. Now she's got something to smile about.